In 2004, 20 children were found in a barn outside Kathmandu. They were sent there by parents in the hope of a better life. 8 years on, the project is preparing them for university. The Himalayan range runs across the top of India, with Tibet in the north, and to the east, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Burma, and to the west, Pakistan and Afghanistan, and in the far north, the disputed areas of Jammu and Kashmir. Humla is situated below the Tibetan plateau. Kathmandu is a 3-week walk for those who cannot afford the transport. Infrequent and unreliable flights in small planes serve Simikot, the capital of the region. Nepal's arable land, only 1% of the country's land area, is spread along its southern border with India. Winters are long and bring 4, sometimes 5 months of snow. Getting goods to market is fraught with difficulty, as one must traverse long distances across ravines. In the spring, melting snows turn those ravines into raging torrents. Often makeshift, and despite regular heavy animal traffic, bridges must be hastily repaired when damaged by storms and floods, as this is a lifeline which cannot be disrupted. Electricity has not penetrated much beyond the region's capital, Simikot. Though rich in hydroelectric potential, Nepal's electricity is sold to India in exchange for petrol and consumer essentials. Solar and wind power are just now starting to penetrate the remote mountain villages. Dirt tracks, like the one we see here, are the only routes from one village to the next, and this one can be seen continuing as a faint line clinging to the mountain on the opposite side. Rife with superstition, the shaman or witch doctor cures sickness and drives out the demons, and the absence of medical help means there's only a 50% chance of people reaching 65. Some of the children bear the burn marks from the shaman's treatments. With just €10 per person spent on the medical system, there is, however, only one doctor for every 5,000 people, and most of these are in the cities. For many in the mountains, it's the shaman or nothing. Rooftops can be favored meeting places to gossip and to work, and they also serve to store animal feed, which doubles as roof insulation during the long winters. Animals kept under the houses are a vital source of heat for the family above. A girl of marriageable age can have value in uniting pieces of adjacent land. Amongst the Lama ethnic group, fraternal polyandry, that is, the marriage of one woman to 2 or more brothers, protects wealth by keeping scarce land from being divided. Village schools are rudimentary and can be freezing in winter. Not every child can afford paper and pencils. 60% do not attend school at all, and only 2 in 100 pass the leaving exams at age 16. In 2004, the communist insurgency, a reaction to poverty, lack of representation, and endemic corruption, raged, and Humla, amongst many other regions, was combed for young recruits. The children's exodus to the city can be traced to the effect that this had on the mountain people. Without comparisons, no one thinks of themselves as poor. It's just how it is in Humla. For a child, the mountains are alive with nature, pure air, animals, and flowers. To stay or to leave, that indeed is the question, and leaving often means taking a chance for a better future in the sprawling slums of Kathmandu. It is a city of 1 million persons out of a population of 22 million. It is brick-built in a valley which was once in the countryside. But as the city grew and people left the land, factories making bricks are now surrounded by populated areas, and the pollution is some of the worst anywhere. But for the mountain peoples who come down to visit shrines and attend festivals, Kathmandu is an exotic, dynamic place with a magnetic attraction full of opportunity and also risk. Here one sees the rich cultures of the tribal regions mingle in the frenetic and vibrant life of the big city. In 2008, the last Hindu monarchy in the world was brought to an end, and the king deposed, largely due to the Maoist-style communist insurgency, which revolted against a political system wedded to nepotism and personal gain. While the people wait for change which enriches them, as opposed to their representatives, holy men, street dancers, colourful shrines, and a rich religious tradition bring hope and relief to the people. Poor infrastructure and lack of reliable basic utilities persist, and despite that vast untapped hydroelectric potential, even water must be delivered by road tanker. The economy is stunted and inward investment is both small and slow. School homework is often done by candlelight, as blackouts can last up to 16 hours a day. Many simply climb the pole to get electricity. It's another meaning of being well connected in Kathmandu. Many like this one catch fire, all of which underlines the very real need for educated, ethical, and qualified leaders in civil society. Life is lived on the street, and whether it's a shave, a meal, a pair of shoes, almost everything costs between 10 and 15% of what it costs in Europe. Hopefully, this little girl's efforts will mean she will not join the bloated ranks of the underemployed, which is estimated at over 50%, and who hang about on street corners with nothing to do and with little education or skills to offer. Whether from the countryside or the city, the gang becomes family for children who have nowhere to go. The grown-up world is often the enemy, and glue a cheap, dependable crutch, making it all bearable. After a few months of this liberty, particularly in summer, few will trade the life of the street for an adult world which would impose routine and education. Collecting plastic is their income, and guarding it makes them wary beyond their years. They mature rapidly on the street, quickly learn survival, and have loyalty to none but themselves. With freedom and no education, AIDS becomes an almost inevitable problem. Children can get work in quarries and brick factories, despite Nepal's child labour laws. And school is simply not an option. In 2004, my wife and I were thrust into this bewildering and unforgiving world. 20 of those in the barn were from the same group of villages in Humla, and they knew each other. They'd already been there for several weeks, having been delivered into the city by a trafficker paid for by the families. Many were in bad condition. This is our only photograph, and of the 11 children here, 6 became part of the Humla Children's Home project. A simple house was rented for about €200 a month amongst the rice paddies and within walking distance of a school. 2 professional carers became uncle and aunt to the children, and the Humla Children's Home project began. They ranged in age from 3 to 8 years. Food and medicine had quickly made a difference. Nightmares and homesickness followed, but slowly things began to improve. 2 years later, and with close supervision of homework and extra tuition, and despite their having virtually no education, they began gradually moving up to join children close to their own age. Eventually, in 2007, petrol and water shortages, along with electricity blackouts, became critical and caused us to move house from the countryside into the city. This house, which was in a very poor state and abandoned by a school, was repaired, wired and plumbed, and it was painted with the help of the children. They planted the garden and scrubbed everything in sight. Our new school, chosen for its attention to the individual and high standards socially and academically, was within easy walking distance. The first year in the new school saw a new vitality enter the group. 2 street children joined us later. One stands on the right with the flower. She ran away and has not been found. The other is the tall one at the back, who left for India. The pull of freedom after years on the street was simply too strong. By 2008, they were blossoming and showing important progress. A strong competitive spirit became part of the ethic as each worked hard to achieve the coveted honor of a class distinction, meaning being in the top 20%. This photo was taken in March 2011, when as an average across the whole group, they are now in the top 15% of the school. Study is now a serious business, and each is aware of where they stand, subject by subject. When we visit the study room, few raise their heads. To avoid problems becoming mental roadblocks, issues are dealt with immediately using tutors from the school. Non-academic development is given great emphasis. This is Rita, who last month was appointed head of house out of 450 children. Medical and dental care sessions are regularly scheduled, as is a program of picnics, sports, culture outings, and displays of skills such as in art and in gymnastics. Chand and Manuka, our husband and wife managers, encourage them to speak out, put on displays, put up their hand in class, and be outgoing and sociable. The last traces of a difficult beginning are gone now, from their physical appearances and from their social behavior. Wherever possible, contact is kept with the family and relatives via intermediaries who travel to Humla, and by periodic email and phone when relatives come down to Simikot. Here is Manuka with Jyoti. Her degree is in English, and she was an English teacher at the Jesuit School of St. Saviour's. This is Chand, Manuka's husband, with the boys. Both have done an outstanding job of developing each personality according to each child's unique personal characteristics and aptitudes. On the back left is their son Abu. Excursions give the children an appreciation of their own rich culture, while their education introduces them to the larger world beyond Nepal, should they wish to embrace it and its possibilities. Let me introduce the children. On the left, Samjana, Shanti, Indu. Indu is our first to enter third level education. Then Kabita, our youngest, and Rita, just selected head of house over 450 girls. Sunkali, Maya Devi, June Devi, and Urmila. On the left, Santosh, Saran, Basanta. Basanta was one of 13 prefects selected out of a school of 1800. And on the right, Sundar. In case anybody is wondering, there are only two pairs of sunglasses. The boys wear chans and the girls wear manukas. On the left, Karmendra, and then Arjun. In the center, Lokendra, Narendra, and our youngest boy at 12 years of age, Mangal. They have come a long way, and with a little help, they can go all the way, making a huge difference to their families, villages, and very possibly their country, which badly needs young, dynamic, ethical, and intelligent people like these. It's impossible to see children on the street now without thinking that for about €4 a day, they could be doctors, social leaders, or run companies. We hope you'll join us in the spirit of our enterprise. Perhaps spread the word amongst friends. If any amongst you would like to join us in this success, we would be happy to have you as part of this great project. Many thanks.